Hey guys, what is up and welcome back to a new video. So guys, this is episode number 5 of my Introduction to Python for Beginners series, and in the last episode we covered the print statement and some of the regular expressions. So we learned how to utilize the print function over here to help display text to our console. We also learned how to print out text, numbers, floats, do addition with text and stuff, and all of that stuff. We also learned about the \n and the \t characters. In this episode, we're going to be covering the 4 types of data that exist in Python. Now, in Python, there are a lot of different types of data, but these 4 types are the most basic types of data. The first one is called the integer, and the integer is just like how it sounds. Just like in math, if you have a number, pretty much any non-decimal real number is an integer. So for example, 5 is an integer, -90 is an integer, 76 is an integer, but any decimal number, for example 14.7, is not an integer. To tell the type of a variable, you can use the type function. So you just type in type, and then you put in 2 parentheses or 2 brackets, and then inside those parentheses you type in whatever is your data. So for example, -90. It says -90 is a class int, and this int basically stands for integer. So you can say something like type of 76 is int. So that is the way that you can determine whether or not a data type is an int or a string or a float, for example. So say something like 14.7, as we did earlier. 14.7 doesn't actually give you back an int. It gives you back class float, and a float is basically any decimal number. So if I were to say type of 3.14159, that give you a type float. Now let us work with the math module for some time. Let's just say import math, and let's try the type of math.py, and this will give us float because math.py is equal to 3.14159, right? So those are the basic number types of data. The second type of data is called the string, and the string basically is a string of characters stringed together, I guess. Like basically a collection of characters or just one character. So say something like hello. Hello should be a string, but instead it gives us a name error. Name hello is not defined. This is because strings need to be followed or need to be enclosed inside of apostrophes or inside of double quotes or single quotes, right? So for example, inside these single quotes I can write in hello, and hello is a string. Or inside these double quotes I can write in world, and world is also a string. So if you type in type of hello, it gives you class str, basically stands for string. Now unlike in Java and C++, where you have character types, you have long, shorts, and all those different types of data, these are the 3 most basic forms of data that you have in Python. The 4th one is called the boolean, alright? And the boolean is basically a true or a false, and you can say whether or not a data type is a boolean depending on the color. So for example, boolean of true, as in the type of true gives you bool, class bool, standing for boolean, or the type of false gives you back class bool, which means it's a boolean. And there are only 2 possible values in Python that are booleans, but to make this a little more relevant to the real life, a boolean is basically like a yes or a no, like 2 opposites, for example good and evil, or zeros and ones, for example, in terms of computer language. These all are examples of different boolean data types. Now you can also convert between data types, though there are certain rules to do this. So first let's take an example of the type of 1. Now make sure this 1 is followed by single quotes, and it says type string. Whereas if we do type 1 without any single quotes, it says class int. What this means is that anything followed inside of these quotes is a string, no matter what characters they are, unless it's something very special. So in most cases, stuff between quotes are going to be strings, and without quotes are going to be either integers, floats, or booleans. Now, something to note is that if you do something like 1 plus 1, it gives you 2. But if you do something like the string of 1 plus the string 1, it gives you 1, 1. Because in this case, the computer doesn't know that 1 is a number. It just simply combines those two strings together and gives you back the result. To convert between data types, you can use a few more functions. The first one is the int function. Alright, and you use this by simply putting int and then a set of parentheses, and inside this parentheses, whatever you'd like to convert into an integer. So for example, if I would like to convert the string of 1 into an integer, I will just type in int parentheses string 1, and that'll give me 1 back. I can do the type of int of the string of 1, and that gives me a class int, because over here I'm converting the string of 1 into an int. Similarly, you can also convert it back into a string. So you can do, for example, the type of the string, instead of string it's str, the string of 14, and this will give you class string, because the string of 14 is a string data type. You can also convert them into floats. You can do the type of the float of, say, 0.9. 0.09, yeah. So this will give you float, because if you convert this, so make sure this is a string, right? This is a string because it's inside the quotes. And right now I'm converting it using the float function into a type float. You can also convert integers into floats. So if I were to do something like the float of 9, it will give me 9.0. Now you might think that they're the same thing, but to the computer 9 and 9.0 are two very different things. Just 9 is an integer, whereas 9.0 is a float. You can also convert floats back into integers, but this does not work as rounding off. Okay, so say something like the type of the integer of say 9.8, it gives an int, and the int of 9.8 is 9. Now this is very different to the rounding function. Okay, so if I were to do something like round 9.8, it will give me also an integer back. So I could do something like the type of round up 9.8, and that also give me a very similar result, but this function over here gives me a different result back, because the integer of 9.8 gives me 9, whereas rounding off 9.8 gives me 10. So those are the basic conversions. There's also one more called the bool. So the bool of, say, 0 is false, and the bool of, say, 1 is true. You can also try doing the bool of 2. It will give you 2 as well. Basically anything other than 0 gives you true, and 0 gives you false. So the bool isn't really used too much. I mean, you could do something like the bool of false will give you, okay, yeah. So it's a little weird, because converting strings into booleans is not as simple. The computer only understands 0, 1, true and false as boolean values, nothing else. I mean 0 and any other number as boolean values. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. It was just an introduction to some of the basic types of these data types are called primitive data types. We won't be working with complex data types until some time. But yeah. Anyways guys, if you did enjoy it, make sure to leave a like down below. Comment anything that any queries, any questions, or any suggestions that you have for these videos, because in the beginning it might be a little confusing. If it is, just rewatch the video and hopefully it should be fine. If you're still confused, make sure to leave it down in the comments and I will reply as fast as possible. Leave a like down below, subscribe to the channel, and share it with your friends, family. Anyways guys, I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.